Hey everybody, I wanted to share something interesting with you, what everybody talks about with the Georgia Guidestones. And in some of the previous videos that I have talked about with keeping humanity under 500 million. So I decided to get out of the bathtub today after I got off work. And this is basically what I found when I went into the DuckDuckGo search engine to type this out. First of all, here's the website. And what it says right here, in case you can't see it, right now I'm at my computer in my own home. And it says, the Georgia Guidestones, a complete guide. The Georgia Guidestones have been called America's most mysterious monument. Learn how all there is to know on the Georgia Guidestones with this article. And this article was actually written by Jim Goad. The Georgia Guidestones have been called America's most mysterious monument. What the heck is this weird Stonehenge-like structure in rural Georgia? Why do the messages inscribed on them predict the end of the world? The Georgia Guidestones, also known as the American Stonehenge, are a massive granite structure in far eastern Georgia near the South Carolina border. No one knows who paid for the construction of the Georgia Guidestones, nor what exactly is meant by the strange messages engraved on them. Here's the text inscribed in English on them. What do the Georgia Guidestones say? The following are 10 messages are inscribed on one of the structure's giant slabs, and these 10 messages are written in the Guidestones in 8 different languages. Those languages are English, Swahili, Russian, Spanish, Sanskrit, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Chinese. Although they are not numbered on the monument itself, they are presented in this order in every language. The following 10 messages are inscribed on one of the structure's giant slabs. These 10 messages are written on the Guidestones. Alright, this is I'm going to move on down here. And this just breaks it down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you, but I wanted you to see the photo. See if I can do a blow up. Alright, I'm actually going to read it from this. Alright. Right now it says to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide production wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Wow. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth and leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Then, if we keep on reading this article, it says the Guidestones are located in far eastern Georgia, about 30 miles from the college town of Athens. About 30 miles from the college town town of Athens, and 90 miles from Atlanta, where the closest major airport, which also happens to be the world's busiest airport, is located. Who made them and how were they constructed? The Georgia Guidestones are almost twice as tall as Stonehenge. Nearly 250,000 pounds of granite was used to make them. No one knows who paid for their construction. And as the story goes, an elegant, well-spoken, well-dressed, and gray-haired man who identified himself only as R.C. Christian appeared at a granite company in nearby Elberton, Georgia, one day requesting a quote on the project. Figuring he was some nut, the granite specialist purposely claimed a ridiculous price, figuring Mr. Christian would balk. Instead, Mr. Christian agreed to the price. R.C. Christian allegedly presented builders with a shoebox containing a wooden medal of the monument along with 10 pages of extremely detailed specifications. Seated at the highest point in the entire county, the monument was precisely engineered to track the movements of the sun and stars, depending on where they stand and which slots or holes they peer through. Visitors can see the sunrise during an equinox. Or locate the North Star. Okay. Right there, that gives you an idea of the Georgia Guidestones. And at this moment, whenever I've done my previous videos, I have talked about how the first thing on the Georgia Guidestones was to maintain humanity under 500 million. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't condone violence. All I'm reading is what the Georgia Guidestone says. Whenever you look at some of the stuff where it says, and you know, you've already seen this, I've shown this to you. So, whenever it says to avoid petty laws and useless officials, well, I can tell you right now, we have a lot of petty laws and useless officials, okay? Whenever you think about China, and you think about how they can only have one child per family, and if they have more, then in their country, it's the law that they have to literally abort their children if it's more than one child. That's not the parents. That's China. That's, and I'm stating the facts and I'm being careful what I say. But at the moment, you see what the Guidestone says. The population of humanity down to 500 million. Then you go to the last part of this. It says to be not a cancer on the earth and leave room for nature. And it says to leave room for nature. So whoever built these Guidestones and the people that are running the regime in these countries of the world, they are really trying to get the population of humanity down to a useful population of 500 million. And right now, this is why I have always talked about that we don't need to depend on the governments of the world. The governments of the earth system is ran by the prince and the power of the air. It's not ran by God as a whole. And the way that this happened is when Satan fell from heaven, more like he was thrown out, because he tried to get himself above God through pride. Then when he was thrown out, he tricked Adam and Eve out of their dominion and he stole it from them. And he's been the prince and the power of the earth. But we serve a greater God. That's why that these nations are not utterly destroyed, because of the remnant. And when I look, and I'm literally looking at these Georgia Guidestones right now, and it says to guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity, unite humanity with a living new language. And then you come down here and it says to balance personal rights with social duties. What are the social duties? Think about what has happened and what was unleashed in 2020. Think about the C-19 inoculations. Think about that one. And right now, I'm just looking at this where it says rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Let me tell you something about that one. This says nothing about God and about Jesus. Let me read you another one. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Then you go back up here where it says to have one new world language. That, my friend, if you look carefully, is the new world order and the one world agenda. Now, I'm not going to talk about anything else except for this. You better get your lives right with God right now while you still have time. No, it's not over with. No, I do not endorse violence. But for everything that I have learned and read within the last year, it all comes down to the depopulation of humanity to 500 million. That is all that I'm going to say about that, but I will let you see it again on this photo of the Georgia Guidestones. All right, that is all that I have for you today. All right, God bless you. Bye-bye.